All right. Good evening. Good to see you all again. Saw you, most of you, a couple days ago, so it's been a busy week. But understand it's a long day, and we're excited to, or I'm excited to get to talk to you guys about our draft tonight. So I think I'll start by saying that I think we've been consistent as we've talked about what we want to do, especially in the draft. And our approach is to be the best player available, add to our team, and use all our assets in the best way we can to make the team better now and going forward. I want to thank my front office staff who did a fantastic job over not just the last few weeks, but the months and years prepping for this day. We've vetted every opportunity, explored all options, and I think we ended up in a positive place tonight. I think at the end of the day, with the fourth pick, after exploring all our options, we felt extremely comfortable that the best player available was Keegan Murray, and we are extremely excited to welcome Keegan to the Kings family. Obviously, Keegan, extremely well-rounded player, two-way player, one of the most prolific scorers in the country. Blocks, steals, rebounds, impacts the game in so many ways. We talk about versatility, somebody who can play inside and out on offense, somebody who can guard multiple positions on the defensive end, and somebody who was one of the best players on one of the best teams in the country all year long. Ultimately, after sitting in the room with my front office staff, our whole staff, our scouting department, our analytics department, became unanimous that Keegan Murray was the best player available, and we jumped at the chance to select him. With our 37th pick, we have agreed in principle to trade the draft rights of that pick to the Dallas Mavericks as part of a larger trade. The trade is expected to be finalized here in the near future, and per league rules, not able to talk any more on that tonight. And finally, with the 49th pick, we are also thrilled to secure the draft rights to Sasha Vezenkov. Sasha, one of the best players in Europe, first team All-Euro League, an incredible three-point shooter, 6'9", size, a smart defender, a smart offensive player, somebody who impacts, again, the game on both ends, can stretch the floor, and has already proven that he can perform at one of the highest levels in the world. So we're very excited about what these guys can bring on the court, but of course what they bring off the court, as we always talk about, continuing to bring in the types of people into the building here that are going to turn this thing around and get us back to the playoffs. So with that, I'll take questions.
Start right here with Sean.
What's up, Monte?
Hey, Sean.
There we go. Sorry. When you look at having the fourth pick, when you guys moved up, I imagine you probably heard from a lot of teams regarding that pick. Just what was that process like leading up to today, and how, attractive was it to other teams?
Yeah, it was certainly, I think an exciting night, when you make that jump, just the possibilities that it opens up. And my job is to do the due diligence and figure out what I can do. Move up, move back, move out, sit and pick it, and we certainly explored all those. But I think as we went along, and certainly as we got into the final days, it was just apparent to us that if Keegan Murray was there, that was going to be the best course of action for us. So, hats off to my staff. I mean, we did a lot of work, but when you sit there on the final day and you feel that comfortable, it really makes you feel confident that you're doing the right thing.
So, Monte, you say that this was a unanimous choice between you and your staff. Of course, Keegan put up tremendous numbers. In the past couple seasons, 18 minutes a game his first year, but he was awful effective, as a freshman. And of course, we all know what he did, during his senior year. And offensive rebounding, a third of his rebounds from the offensive end, and 68 blocks, 45 steals. Yes, he's probably one of the best two-way players in this draft, in the country. When did you know at this point, going into the draft, that this was your guy? Was it before the draft, during the draft, or just, right when it was time to pick him?
Yeah, well, I guess you don't know till it's your pick. We had 3 picks ahead of us, so not knowing what was going to happen there, but I think we became comfortable, very comfortable by the end, that if the draft went the way that it did ultimately end up going, and like I've said, you talk about scenario planning, we literally plan for every scenario that could happen, especially at 4, it's a little easier, but I think. It was a culmination of the process. I don't think there was one moment, but as we went through, we just became more and more comfortable with every box that Keegan checked along the way. And when all those things line up, it makes my job easy. And so that's a testament to my staff and all the work they put in along the way. Not just vetting Keegan, but every other prospect and trade that we're looking at.
And with all respect, no disrespect at all. The thing with the Jaden Ivey thing, because there's just been so much talk in the last 6 weeks, especially the last couple of weeks, about connecting him with the Kings. Is there anything that you can share on him as far as why you didn't choose him, at least for the fans?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good prospects in this draft. There's going to be a lot of good players come out of this draft, but we're certainly here to talk about Keegan and somebody who, I would say confidently we thought was the best player available at number 4.
Hey, Monte, Matt George, ABC 10. We've heard reports of a playoff mandate for this upcoming season. How much of this decision for Keegan was about his ability to make more of an immediate impact on this team, and how much of an immediate impact do you expect he can make at 22 when his rookie season begins?
Yeah, so I guess those are 2 separate questions. First of all, none. There's no mandate. We've been very clear what our goal is. We want to win. We want to make the playoffs, and we want to continue and stay there. But there's no mandate to do so. My job is to build, as I've said, the best team that's going to take the court this year and for years to come. And so I think Keegan is exactly that player. And, I think he's going to be with us for a long time, and somebody who's got a very bright future ahead of him in this league, and he's going to contribute for many years ahead.
Monty, Mike Wagaman from the Associated Press over here. Keegan's versatility is one of the things that stands out best about him. Do you foresee you guys continuing to use his versatility, mixing and matching him with different lineups, or do you want to see him settle into one position and kind of get the best out of him at that one spot?
Yeah, I guess ultimately that'll be up to Coach Brown and how he wants to utilize him. But I think, what we liked about Keegan was that he has the ability to fit into so many different roles. I think that's really what stood out about him, one of the many things. But, how Coach Brown ultimately ends up utilizing him, I don't think I don't think there's any question that Keegan's gonna have a positive impact on the team.
Hi, Monty. There were certainly very few top 10 caliber picks that came in for workouts, and really only a couple, I think, first round picks. Was that something were there logistical challenges? Is it something philosophically where maybe there's just not as much emphasis here on doing those kinds of things now?
No, we certainly value all the information we can get on these guys, but I would just point to, ultimately, like I said, this is not just the last few weeks that we're sitting in that room. Our scouts have been out there all season, and for some of these guys for many years. We've seen these guys in college, even high school all-star games, things like that. So there is just so much information out there now. Certainly the more touch points we can get, the better on guys. But, really once the time for the draft comes around, we have so much video, intel, seeing these guys live, talking with people who've been around them that we feel comfortable with the person and the player of these guys to a pretty high degree by this point.
Yeah, Monty, Keegan Murray has gotten a little bit of a label of a low ceiling, and I'm curious what your response is to that and what you view as kind of his ceiling throughout the NBA.
Yeah, it's funny. I won't name names because the NBA probably would not like that, but I would say go back and look at some guys who people thought had low ceilings, and I don't know how you would say that about a guy who led the country in points scored, who, like Tony said over here, had the steal, block, rebound numbers that he does. I think Keegan in the Big Ten, the best conference in the country, being one of the most productive players, all season long against some of the toughest competition. We don't see it that way. We think Keegan has an extremely high ceiling. We think he's going to come in here and prove that to everyone. And, I'm sure he's excited, and I'm excited to see it.
Can you talk about a little bit about his dynamic features that he has? Kind of list them if you could.
Yeah, I think Keegan was, I'm going to get the stat wrong, but his dunks, one of the highest dunk rates for his position in college. A fantastic transition player. We talk about wanting to play fast here, and certainly that's something that we can emphasize. But we also got to get players that can do it, and we know we've got a few of those on our roster already. And Keegan's another one. I think he is very smooth with his game. And maybe that lulls people to sleep, but a guy who dunks the ball, runs in transition, rebounds the ball, blocks, steals, all these things indicate a dynamic player with athleticism, with skill, with all those things. So I don't know exactly why people see that. Maybe those are some of the reasons, but we feel confident in not just his production, but his dynamism.
Hey, Monte, Sarah Hodges, CBS 13. How you doing? We know that you guys have, over the years, needed help on the defensive end, and how big, I guess, of that was a factor in the process, and how much of a good defense do you see out of Keegan, and just the fact that he's been a pretty good two-way player throughout college?
Yeah, we certainly want to improve our defense, but I think for the draft, we really focus on what the best player available is, because this is the time that we can get somebody that's going to be with us for a long time, and not just plug a hole. I think, certainly we've talked with, I talked with Coach Brown, his staff. We all know we need to improve the defense, even more, certainly more than we did this year. And I think Keegan will be a part of that, but that is, in the draft process, we try not to make that a part of it. We're really looking not just at this year, but 5-10 years down the road.
Just kind of two quick ones a minute ago, kind of following up on the draft process and guys coming in here, knowing that you were able to have information and intel that you wanted to see. Was it discouraging at all to see so many not be able to come to Sacramento for whatever reason, and what kind of challenge does that pose for you as you do your evaluations?
Yeah, I think we've seen this, I think, with a lot of things, the combine, fewer guys play, fewer guys test, all these things. So it's just a part of the process these days. And but what counterbalances that is all the other information out there. I mean, when I started in the league, Phil Jabor, who's our vice president of player personnel, was in our video room all day, every day, just making sure we had 2 games on a guy, on every prospect. And now, the day after every game, we have it at our fingertips. So, there's so much more information in that way. The world, is so much more connected. Our guys do a fantastic job of finding people who have been around these guys, so we know what kind of people they are. Certainly all else equal, we want, as many touch points as we can, but, we feel fantastic about our preparation and the information we've gathered, and, our ability to touch these guys in many different ways.
Monte, you guys have been pretty clear that you wanted to add size, length, defense, shooting. Keegan addresses pretty much every area that you guys have talked about. So I hear you when you're talking about best player available, but was there also an element of fit and readiness for him that maybe pushed you in that direction some?
No, I mean, it was I guess certainly a nice bonus. But no, we have conversations at the beginning of every draft process. We talk with our group about the difference between the opportunity the draft gives us, especially at the top, versus the other kind of free agency trade, other things that we can do to the team, and what our focus is. And certainly, yeah, we love it when it all lines up. But for us, we are solely focused on the best player because, like I said, this is our chance for not just a guy that's going to help us this year, but 5-10 years down the road. We don't know exactly what the roster will be like. We just want the guy who's going to be the best player out there.
Monte, I just want to go back to what you had said before about the competition level that Keegan has been in there, because the Big Ten was full of stars. I mean, with Johnny Davis in Wisconsin, Trace Davis in Indiana, Kofi Cockburn in Illinois, the Lion, Liddell, Ohio State. But what's your thoughts about how Iowa developed this kid in those first 2 years? Because he only played 18 minutes the first year. Then, boom, he just came out of nowhere, and he took the team, to the Big Ten tournament, and they won it and stuff. What's your thoughts about that program developing him to get to the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah, whether it was the program, Keegan, I'm sure a combination of all of it. But I think we all know the year that Keegan had this year, and it was fantastic. But Keegan's somebody that was on our radar last year, even though he had a smaller role. The things he does on the court show up even in smaller samples. And so, the fact that he took it to the heights he did this year is certainly a testament to him and the program, but it's also things that we saw, the beginnings of last year. And that just gives you even more confidence that, this guy was able to impact it in a smaller role off the bench and then come in and be the go-to star they needed this year when he was given a bigger role. And the fact that he continues to grow like that, is another positive as we look into his future.
Tom Diarigger with NBC Sports. You mentioned multiple times of your comfort level leading up to the draft that if Keegan was there at 4, you'd take him because he checked off some boxes. What were some of those boxes, both on and off the court, that he checked off for you?
Yeah. I think I'll start with just the human, the person that we found Keegan to be. Incredible worker, incredible competitor, humble but confident off the court, universally loved teammate. That's one. I think, as I'd mentioned, like the fact that our scouting staff and our analytics staff line up on this, that gives me more confidence. And then somebody who obviously checks all the production boxes, but as to the earlier question, but our scouts see that he can continue to grow, and that's not just something that maybe he had a good year or something like that. Like all those things line up, and like I said, you keep checking those boxes. It's it gives you so much confidence.
Chris Tavares with Fox 40. There were the reports that Keegan went out to lunch or dinner with Fox and other guys from the team. How much of a role did your conversation with those guys after that dinner have in your thought process or your scouting of him? And also, what does it just say about the relationships he's already trying to build with guys before he even knew he was going to be coming here?
Yeah, it's just another layer on top, right? And a lot of this is just continue to get to know the prospect and seeing his comfort level with our people. And showing him what we're all about, right? And having our front office staff, our coaching staff, some of our players, a lot of our other staff touch him, show him the facilities, all these things, and seeing how he handles that, and just spending time, like I said, and on top of all the other information, it's just another positive.
Yeah, hey, Monte, you talked a little bit about Sasha. Is he someone that you expect to be a player for you next season? And if so, how do you envision him kind of meshing with this roster?
Yes, start by saying that Sasha, certainly the intrigue with him is, his size with his shooting. Somebody who's hit threes at a high clip, but also can play make and just shows his feel out there on the court. And I think, the fact that he's done it at arguably the next best, the second best league in the world, at an age where he's just entering his prime, we love to see that. And again, another one, like I pointed to, I'll keep pointing to the fact that when, our scouting department, our analytics, our strategy group, our intel, all these things line up, and he's another guy that it did for. And so, being able to acquire his rights, and we'll see what we do going forward, but just another guy that we're excited to welcome to the Kings.
Monte, when you think of just this being the first step of the offseason, draft, and then you kind of go into free agency offseason, whatever that looks like, how do you kind of take the shape going forward in terms of what you need? And kind of a addendum to that, does it make it difficult knowing kind of your own situation, not having a whole lot of clarity beyond maybe this final year you're about to step in? Do you have confidence that that will play a role at any point?
No, we have our group. We have the ultimate confidence in what we're doing. This is, I guess, step one of the off season. We got a busy few weeks ahead, and we know our job. Our job is to go out there and build the best Sacramento Kings team we can. And we think we certainly took another step tonight. We're going to continue that over the next few weeks, and our group does a great job. I'm glad we have a little bit of a normal off season. A few days before free agency starts instead of 18 hours or whatever it was the last couple of years. But yeah, no, it's just another chance for us to keep building, and we haven't reached our goal yet, like we talked about, but we feel well on our way, and we're excited about all the pieces that are coming together right now.
All right, let's go to zone 2 more. Christos, go ahead.
McNair, thank you for your time, first of all. I would like to ask you about Sasha. How good fit he can be in this team? Because he has size, he can shoot, he can play defense. He showed it this season in EuroLeague. And are you planning to talk with him directly about next season, or to share your thoughts about him? Are you planning to talk with him directly in the next days?
Yeah, I think we talked about at the end of the season, I think about wanting to add shooting was being a priority, and so to go and add one of the best shooters, who's got great positional size, in one of the best leagues in the world, who's already producing, that made it easy for us, and I think Sasha's a guy we see fitting with with Domas's passing, with Fox's ability to collapse defenses. Just another guy that can stand out there and hit shots, and we all know how important that is in the league these days. We all just saw the playoffs, so we're excited about the fit, and we'll talk more with him and see where we're at. But somebody that I know we know can play at a high level, and that excites us.
Cameron, last question.
Hey, Monte, I know you've been a big believer in drafting best player available. When you're going through your draft evaluation process, how do you determine, or what characteristics stand out when determining who goes atop your draft board? Is the process different picking at 4 compared to picking later in your draft like you guys have the last 2 years, where guys can fall there and get high?
Yeah, I would say, when we say best player available, we're looking at guys who, it's more, especially with college prospects, right? You're projecting them from a young age and what they'll do over hopefully a long period of time, and so a lot of it is the projection aspect, which is maybe different than some of the other transaction periods we have, which are a little more near term. And so, so a lot of it, that's why we talk so much about like, who is this person? Because they're going to come in, they're going to need to continue to improve their game. They're going to need to fit into a different environment. They're going to need to battle through things, in their NBA career. And that on top of what have they shown they can do, but also what do we think they can continue to do? And so, and looking at that through multiple lenses, our scouting lens, our analytics lens, our intel lens, and, and again, when those line up, feel great. When they don't, we do more work and, and then continue to set our board. And, certainly at the top of the draft is just an exciting chance to add somebody who, who can be a really impact player for a long time. And I think with Keegan, we feel extremely excited about that.